the Graviton trainings that we just ended. Right now we have 11 people who have claimed, and there's 15 POAPs left. So please, you can look your address and see if you meet the requirements to have this POAP. This POAP is very important because this POAP, or the one that says from 2021, are requirements to participate in the roles of gravity in our future proposals. Okay, for today I had only 2 topics in the agenda, but we can continue writing more topics as the meeting progresses. But the first topic that I wanted to cover is that yesterday we made the distribution from August. So everyone should have received a bounty according to the tasks that they committed and did. So for the people who haven't noticed, yeah, yesterday we made the distribution, and you all should have wrap XDAI in the Gnosis chain. So that's the way that we reward the contributions. And with August, it ends like a phase of this project, and right now we will be entering into a new phase of getting ready for making new proposals, and within those proposals also including the design of our own economy. So that's really cool. So that's why some of the bounties that we have had until this moment will no longer continue, and we will try to reduce some of our expenses, and we will also try to create bounties for the things that are critical for the future and for what's to come. And also for things that tribute directly to the awareness and to the visibility of the project in the space. So yeah. Besides that, in 2 hours we will be having the website call, where we are working on the narrative, and we are working on the design of a website to promote and to be the point of the gathering point for people who want to know about gravity, for people who want to submit cases, for people that want to work with us, so, and for people that want to learn. So we are having this website call in 2 hours. Besides that, some of the topics that I could include to this meeting are some of old topics that we haven't finished and we are still working on. For example, that we are ongoing practicing this survey, and it would be really cool if you can feel it. Until August, we were funding this research on psychology and mental health, and the end of that phase of the research is this research, is this survey. So what we will have in these following months is a lot of information coming from the people who have filled this survey, and in our next and future proposal we will include some bounties for the analysis of the information and the production of a scientific paper, because we think that education is really important, and not only the way that we've been doing it in Web3, that is like with POAPs and stuff like that, but also on the traditional scholarship way. It's also important, because that's how we gain robustness in all of our theories. So we want to be people that also theorizes on what is exactly the well-being, and what are some of the common problems that people can tend to have while participating in Web3 projects. Besides that, we are also working on roles for the second proposal. What we call the second proposal, to make history, is that the first proposal that we posted to the TEC was to cover 6 months of operations, and right now we are more or less um, like we have made a lot of progress within that proposal, but the funds of that proposal that we got from that proposal will only last for 2 months more. So we need to top up our multisig, and for that we are planning to make a second proposal to the TEC and a third proposal. We are planning to make 2 additional proposals, one focused on operations and the other one focused on um, launching our economy. And I know we've had more or less an agreement coming from past sessions on all this, but these past days I have been like really wondering if we need to lower what we are going to ask for, because I am seeing that it's being very very hard to pass the proposals on the TC Gardens. For example, this proposal of topping up the reward system was asking for 20,000 wrap XDAI, and it had to have almost 100k of TC of support. So if we would ask for 31k, we would need much more support, and that would make it really really difficult for that proposal to pass. So what I was thinking was to even split the operational proposal, and I was also thinking to have like 5 roles, and that would mean like a grow of our operations. But at the same time, I don't know if we would be able to sustain this growth, and I am afraid that maybe if we don't get this proposal, if we don't pass this proposal, we will get a slowdown. So maybe what we could do is to have like continue modifying this proposal to make it 3 months, and maybe to try to lower some of the things, so that it's easier for the proposal to pass. And yeah, I worry of the proposal not passing. Yeah.
Juan, with the proposal for the economy,
Yes.
That's probably something that would be more popular if it's talking about how do we go out and find, let's say, grants in other DAOs where they're looking for support with either I think actually group formation is another area where we can bring our skills, but also obviously group, as I like to call it, deformation, where people have fallen out a bit, and there's some need for some mediation and so forth. But I actually think both areas are things that we can contribute to. And I mean, for example, I've been talking to DYDX, and on behalf of Bankless, and I put a proposal in to DYDX on behalf of Bankless, part of which was to do with the sort of the deformation end of group management and group formation and group dynamics. So I kind of I took a slight leap there and hoped that if I came to you and said, "Oh, I've got some grant here," you might be okay with that. Hopefully that's I know that's taking a liberty, but I thought you probably might be quite okay with it. Do some work and get some money into Gravity. But hopefully that's okay. But that type of thing where other DAOs have got grants that they're offering for that type of work. It's something that we can do. We can go out and actively look for. So if that's something that's in the economy document, which I confess I haven't looked at, and I know I need to, and I should go and have a look at it, that would be fantastic, because I think that would be received quite favourably by people who are looking at the proposal.
Yeah, of course. Everything that is grants is something that would be really good for us, and also something that could be well seen by the TC, because this is something that I was writing and that came to my mind, and it's like, are we only asking money to the TC? I know that we have close relationship with the proposal inverter, and it's a way that a proposal can ask funds to multiple communities. So multiple communities can fund something that is good for all of them. It would be really good to contact them to see if maybe using the proposal inverter would be good for Gravity, or maybe asking partial funds to other communities. Maybe if we know that our expenses or what we need is 31K, maybe we can ask the TEC like for 21K, and we will have additional funding streams or other funding stream or other community placing the remaining 10K for our budget. So in this we need to be creative, and this is something that I always like to talk about in the DAO space, and is that here in the traditional work, we tend to have like the public sector and the private sector, and the public sector is like, hey, we get money and then we spend it and that's it, because we're getting money, and that's in the public sector. But in the private sector, it's like, okay, we need to make money out of everything to survive. And I think that DAOs are like a middle point, because we need to make money to survive, but at the same time, when we ask for money on proposals, we then have a budget to spend. So I think we've done a good and an ethical use of the funding that we've had, and that we've made a good distribution from that funding. But I know it's something common in multiple organizations to struggle in this accountability, and yeah. So we don't only have to think on what are we going to spend things on, but also on how are we going to make more money. And that's why we need multiple funding streams. We right now receive donations in Giveth, we receive donations in Gitcoin, but that is very few. We are also trying to provide services to other communities. We are also offering trainings, and we all that can be like monetized content, and that is something that we are working on in the website. But at the same time, we were born in the TC, but we cannot only depend on the TC for our operations. And it can happen, for example, that we submit the proposal, and if it doesn't pass, if we only had the TC as our only alternative, then that would be like a conflicted situation. But we should try to have like multiple alternatives, so that if the proposal doesn't pass in the TC, we have like another door. And not only like thinking that the TC can be the only way that we can receive funds, but like what you're saying, innovator grants, all that is really cool. And maybe, yeah, like we can ask for partial funds to our communities, or looking for support on the proposal inverter to see if Gravity could benefit from the proposal inverter. That all these things are new, and it's like a terrain that we are going to see more of in this couple of weeks, because yeah, it's an alternative to not like depend that the 100% of our funding should come from the TC.
This is something I was thinking the beginning of this week when I was looking at gardens. Because I was looking at the common pool, and I remember the first community call that was in, it was like
Almost
like
a million.
yeah, was like more than 1 million actually. And now it's like half than that. So I was like, we are just like getting money from it, and then at some point there will be nothing. And I was also thinking like, I wasn't here when the hatch happened, but I was thinking like, how did TC raise that money, and how can we think about a way of learn something from that, like going back in TC history and try to do something like that, or even like talk to Griff or something. Like how can we get investment from people or institutions? I don't know. It's something I was thinking when I was looking at gardens.
That's something that we are trying to cover in this second proposal that of launching our economy. And it was a very beautiful process, and it has to do a lot with token economy. But I can show you this config dashboard. So what we did in the token engineering commons is that first we did an initial distribution to the people who worked in the TC through praise, and then we had a hatch. The hatch was like a closed token sale that only trusted seed members could buy TC tokens from at the best price before the initialization of the economy. Once the economy initialized, the price of the hatch, the price of the market is higher than the price of the hatch. The price that people bought at the hatch was at $1, and you see that right now the TC is at 1.25. And with that, then we created our bonding curve, and okay. we created our bonding curve. So here it was the opening price. I think the opening price was lower than $1 because the price of the token fluctuates according to the amount of tokens bought and sold. So what we are talking with Septi and Sem, that are like our advisors on this token economy side, is that we won't have a hatch. That means we won't have like starting money to make a reserve on the token, because all tokens should have a reserve. Otherwise, the price of the token is like hot air. You need to have a reserve on the price that you are giving to the token. So what we are talking between Septi and Sem and I, the idea that we have is to start with a very high reserve. That means that we will be more like a stable coin in the first months, because stable coins have a really high reserve. And our idea would be to have a gradual lowering of the reserve on a time-based planning. So for example, that we would start with a reserve of 95%, and then our plan would be to lower it, for example, to 85% in 2 or 3 months. And what that would mean is that it would be attractive for the people, because when the reserve is higher, there's less volatility, and that way people would know that what they are putting is what they are receiving. But when we lower the reserve intentionally, we are giving volatility to the token, and that would allow for the token price to grow, and for us to create more tokens, so that the token is created safely. And instead of the TC, where we created a common pool, a very big common pool at launch, what we will have is a common pool that will gradually grow. So for example, in the TC, because we had money from the hatch, we started the common pool with a lot of money. But the idea that we have in Gravity would be that the common pool would grow according to the lowering of the reserve. So that's like the idea that is more or less cooking. And if it's not so clear, I can like continue giving more detail, but we will get to this topic at the right time.
Thank you, Juan.
So yeah, in the TC first we had the money from the hatch, and then we had to say how much of the money of the hatch is going to go to the common pool, and how much of the money of the hatch is going to go to the reserve. So first we had the money, and then we choose the reserve and the common pool. What we are going to do is, because we are not going to have a hatch, we are going to have a high reserve. And when we have a high reserve, the common pool will be really, really, really small. But as the reserve lowers gradually with time, we will have a growing of the common pool.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it
so
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, each token should have a reserve. If the reserve of the token is higher, the volatility is lower. when the reserve of a token is really low, that's a really volatile token, and it's backed by hot air. So what we are going to do is that we are going to back our tokens with real money, and that is going to make it interesting for the market to acquire tokens. And then as we will plan to lower the reserve, that would feed the common pool. It's very interesting, and I was not so skilled at token engineering, but and I am not so skilled at token engineering, but with all these param parties and these dashboards, you get to learn. So we are going to get inspired by the TC, but we are not going to make it exactly like the TC, because the TC had a trusted seed and had a hatch. We are not going to have a hatch. We are going to create first a very highly reserved token, and then as the reserve of the token lowers in percentage, that same percentage that we are lowering from the reserve is going to go to the common pool. I like it this way because instead of having a lot of money since the beginning and not knowing what to do with it, what we will have is a continuous funding for the things that come. So it's not okay, we have a lot of money, what are we going to spend on? But it's with the planning of the lowering of the reserve, we know how much money are we going to have into the common pool per month.
Yeah.
And well, what happens also in the TEC is that all the tokens that were in the hatch, that were bought in the hatch, are frozen. That means that you cannot sell them. Yeah, the tokens that are from the hatch are locked, so you cannot sell them, and this will gradually unfreeze with time. That is this first module that was token freeze and token thaw, and it means that you will get a linear increase of the tokens that you can sell once that the freeze period ends. And I am here going on thesis history. So the exact Goldilocks, the exact parameters of the exact parameters of the TEC are these ones, called Goldilocks. So here you can see, for example, we had a token freeze of 26 weeks. The other day I heard that the token freeze is getting near, but I don't know exactly which time is it. And the thaw is that in 52 weeks the total amount of tokens will be released, but in a linear way. And this is, for example, things that some things that we are not gonna do. We are not gonna make a tribute to the common pool because we don't have a hatch. We will choose an entry and exit tribute. and the reserve ratio here, for example, is of 20%. But what we are saying is that our reserve ratio will be over 90%, and then the idea is to lower it gradually. We will also make an initial token distribution based on work, and for that the POAPs are really important. Also, we will see on the DWork all the people that have been working and all the people that have been contributing. We will also need to choose some of these parameters to then be able to have our own gardens, and then instead of the TC price, we would see, for example, here the gravity price, and the common pool will not be the common pool of the TC, will be the common pool of gravity. I think this is very interesting because we don't need to be a really big economy. What is important is that we can be our own economy, and if we run out of funds, it's because the service or the value that we are trying to provide is not being well seen by the environment. But at the same time, we will be completely autonomous, and if we if we make good things, that will be shown by the market. And I think that that's something really, really interesting, because in this DAO world, as you can have like international relationships with everyone, and it's so easy to pay. We can have a really wide amount of clients, because we can work with anyone in the world, and we are our own economy, meaning that we don't need to be pegged to some of the political things that each country is living. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and that's the beautiful thing of working in DAOs. I think that besides all the technology, what we get is the opportunity to participate in a global economy and to offer our services within a global competence. And really, we are truly autonomous. I mean, no one is telling me or telling us what to do. All this that we are talking about is things that we have somehow planned and somehow thought of, but all this is completely autonomous. And that's the way that DAOs are, and that's really cool. So that's also an autonomous decision for ourselves to not only look for funding in the TC. And I think this decision should also mark some things that we should be working on for the future, and it's like looking for new communities that can help us through the provision of our services, that can help us receive funding or grants, and maybe also looking for the proposal inverter and multiple ways of funding, not only only using the TEC for our 100%. It's diversifying our economy, and also not being so dependent to the TEC. But yeah, that was some of the things that I wanted to share today. I know we've also slowed down a little bit the pace of our work, but that's good, and that's intentional, because we were working too much in the past months, and now that the working stream is lower, and now that we have somehow achieved some of the things that we said that we would do. It's good to have this time to look back into things, to reflect, and to really think on the future. And I always insist on this, as we are autonomous, and this is not a hierarchical organization. All these documents are open. If you have ideas, please feel free to contribute, feel free to make comments, feel free to give solutions. If you think, hey, I think that we can receive funding by doing X or Y thing, all that is interesting. We can even do NFTs somehow, like the Graviton POAPs are NFTs, but not in the market way. But we can even look for funding through selling some collection of NFTs. All this is really interesting, and it's not only like, hey, can I get money to do this, or what are we going to spend money on, but also like, hey, how can we receive and get money from what is happening in the space. I don't know. Yeah, if you want to share something.
Thank you for getting us this far, for your, shepherding us through the whole process, and to be constantly vigilant about everything. So I just like to say, as much as I've been supporting you, you've also been supporting, me and the whole group of Gravity people. So I just wanted to thank you personally for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Okay.
Yeah,
With
me
that,
too. I want to express my gratitude for the Gravity group and to everybody that it's working here. I love working in Gravity, and for everybody that it's here sharing and putting their thoughts, and welcoming, and Juan that it's always supporting and making this happening. Thank you, Juan, for everything.
no, thank you. Thank you. You are. I am here because of you. I like, I could have been talking to a wall, but I am here because you listen to me, and because you work with me, and because you help me. And yeah, I think gravity is something that has been very interesting coming out from the TEC. Everything changes, even the TEC is changing, and that's why we should also be aware of those changes and try to anticipate some of the things. So that's why I am saying of lowering what we are going to ask to the TEC for in this second proposal. And the next couple of weeks will be a lot on this, working on these proposals. We will continue having some events, but on mid-September, we are talking to make an event to talk about welfare with some of the Aragon crew, and also with work DAO and Opolis. It's going to be like interesting, and also we will be having an event on the 14th of September with Contessa, where we will be talking about gravity at on a Twitter space. So yeah, to close the call, and remember that we will have a website meeting in 1 hour and 20 minutes. I will
Juan,
make yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Are we having the proposal call this Friday?
No,
Okay.
no. We maybe have it next week on Friday, and we will continue talking about all this. Maybe reaching out to the proposal inverter guys, thinking which other community can we propose to, and how can we lower some of the pretensions that we were asking to the TC. Maybe not having 4 months of funding, but having 3 months, or maybe having a partial funding from other community. We'll see. Or telling the TC that they will be only funding the 70 or the 80% of our operations. All this will come at its time, and we are advancing at the right pace. Also, we are working on the page, and we've been taking time on that, but I am really glad for the product that we are making. With that, I will try to end this call 15 minutes earlier. Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Later.
Just regarding the proposal inverter, because I've kind of got a bit of a track record in, reaching out to other DAOs, I'd love to be involved. So
Yeah,
please
let's
involve me. Please tag me, point me at documents, whatever it is.
Perfect. I think I was talking with some guys at Longtail Finance, but I will talk with Mert too, and maybe we can make a group and talk about this. I know that we talked about this sometime in the past, but we have to retake that conversation.
Okay. Please count me in.
Yeah, I'll do. Let's play the card game. Who wants to pick a card?
I'll pick it. How do you pick it though?
You can say the fourth one to the right, to the left. The third one.
I'll say the sixth
You can tell
one
me stop.
from the sixth from the left.
6 from the left. It says, "I am sorry, forgive me." And these cards are based on Oponopono. And what this means is that sometimes we carry things, and we carry grudges, and we carry things from the past, and we judge other people. But when we say "I'm sorry, forgive me," you are giving the forgiveness to yourself. And sometimes we wait for other people to say "I'm sorry" to forgive them, but really we should forgive ourselves and forgive the other too, because we all make mistakes, and yeah, if we wait for the other people to say "I'm sorry," we will never forgive. And this is all from the responsibility that we have from our feelings, our thoughts. So this is the card for today. I am sorry, forgive me. And if there is someone who haven't told you "I'm sorry" for something, I tell you "I'm sorry" in the name of them. So now you are able to forgive, and that way we are all able to walk freely without carrying any. So I'm sorry, forgive me.
That's great. I love it. I am sorry, guys. Forgive me.
Thank you.
And we have to also forgive ourselves, because sometimes we sabotage ourselves. We're too rude with ourselves, and the way we talk to ourselves is the way we talk to others. So let's talk to ourselves with love, so that we can talk to others with love. And no one is perfect. We all make mistakes, so it's also human to recognize it and to say I'm sorry, and to not continue carrying some of the things that are not useful for ourselves, but to be clean as water.
Thank you, Juan. That's beautiful thinking.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your contributions in Gravity, for your support to me. And if there's anything I can do, don't worry, DM me, and I'll be happy to talk with you guys.
Thank you. Just a reminder, tomorrow we have our mental health event, Take Care of Your Mind. It's happening at 3 p.m. EST. It's also in our Gravity calendar. You can check it out over there to be in your own time zone. And if you didn't check the survey yet, I also posted in the chat. Please fill the survey if you can. So just these two reminders. Thank you all for being here in the call.
I just have two things. One is next week at the same time as this meeting, I have a dentist appointment. So I won't be here for that. So then the other question that I have is for Bianca. In the survey, one of the questions is, what is your monthly average income for the contributions you make within DAOs? So that's to say, how much money do I actually make in participating? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's it for me. Oh, I'd also like to welcome my friend here. Dark Sherry showed up in the call at the last minute. I've known him for
Hello,
several
good
years.
evening, everyone. Glad to
Yeah,
be around.
maybe introduce yourself. So, we're saying goodbye, kind of, but
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me around. My name is Sharif Daramola. I'm a currency analyst, and I hope to be part of the session next time around. So thank you, and good night.
Bianca,
Welcome,
that was awesome. Thank you.
welcome to your baby too.
Yes.
Oh, he's saying hi.
Thank you, Innovator. Thank you, Sherry, for coming.
You guys, bye bye.
See you later. Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
See
Thanks.
you
Bye.
later. Have a good day.
Bye.
Yeah.
how you doing?